And there is actually another solution of supporting Ukraine without spending as much from the US budget and from the UK budget. And it is using Russian money that are right now being stored in the democratic countries. And this total amount is up to $500 billion. And it's a huge amount. And we have been working for 2.5 years on hoping that governments will unfreeze those.
Now, Ukraine's President Zelensky has said he's sure that Donald Trump's return to the White House will hasten the end of the war with Russia. Speaking to a Ukrainian media outlet about his phone call with Trump following Trump's election victory, Zelensky said it is certain that the war will end sooner with the policies of the team that will now lead the White House. He added that Ukraine must do everything so that this war ends next year, ends through diplomatic means. President Zelensky's also criticised a phone call last night between the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Well, that's President Zelensky saying that the call between Scholz and Putin has opened a Pandoras Box and is undermining efforts to isolate the Russian leader. Well, Kira Rudik is a member of the Ukrainian parliament and leader of the opposition Holos party. Good afternoon to you, Kira.
Hello, Carol, and thank you so much for having me.
Well, good to talk to you. Do you share your president's view that actually it's now more likely that the war will end under the forthcoming Trump presidency than it would have been otherwise?
Well, Carol, we are right now in a situation when there is no point to be pessimistic, right? We need to work with the new administration and we need to figure out what's the best way of getting the help to end the war and for Ukraine to get the best deal possible in this situation. We have worked with President Biden and we are so grateful for everything that the United States and all the allies have done for us. However, we see that the strategy that was called to stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes is not really working because, as per President Zelensky, up till this point, Ukraine only received 10% of the aid in military and financial terms that was voted in Congress this year. So how can we be expected to win, to fight properly, if we are only getting 10% of what was approved by the US Congress? So that's why moving forward, we need to look at the other opportunities. And Donald Trump was very clear during the campaign that he intends to end the war quickly. Well, it is very worrying because we have already been in a situation of ceasefire in 2014. It did not work very well because there was not a clear understanding of who or what will make sure that Putin will keep his part of the bargain. But we are remaining hopeful, and we have various ways of working with new Trump's administration and getting them on board of how to help America remain leader of the democratic world by helping Ukraine winning the war.
So lots to discuss in what you said there, Kira. First of all, Donald Trump's very famous quote that he would end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. I mean, do you see that as a positive sign, or do you think it is a worrying sign that he would try to somehow cut some sort of a deal with President Putin of Russia, and that would inevitably mean the loss of some Ukrainian territory?
Carol, there is actually a way to end the war in 24 hours. It is pressuring Putin to pull back his troops and return our territories. And that's a very good question, if that is what's going to happen, or if Ukraine will be pressured to have some kind of their territorial agreements and for us to trade our land for the security. As of right now, it is absolutely unacceptable to Ukrainian army and Ukrainian society. And we really hope that it would not come to that. But the truth is also that we don't know, because what Donald Trump has been known for is his unpredictability. But what we also know is that right now Russia has allied with China, Iran, and North Korea, exchanging technologies, exchanging weapons, and bringing North Korean troops to the battlefield, so that if the United States will appease Russia's aggression, then it will have like major troubles in the Pacific region, because China will take it obviously as a sign of weakness, Iran will take it as a sign of weakness, and they will continue increasing their military capacity to attack democracies in the other places of the world.
Donald Trump has also said that he believes the extent of military and financial support to Ukraine is too great a drain on the United States resources. Are you concerned that he will put a block on that, put a block perhaps on the aid that has already been promised? And you're saying that only a tiny proportion of that has only so far been delivered. That he will actually stop many of those supplies getting to Ukraine, or at least significantly reduce the amount of weapons, ammunition, and financial support that the US is providing?
Yes, there is a threat of that. And we are, of course, working on a political level to make sure that it would not be the case. However, we need to be absolutely clear that we understand that the support of Ukraine has been a heavy burden on the United States. And there is actually another solution of supporting Ukraine without spending as much from the US budget and from the UK budget. And it is using Russian money that are right now being stored in the democratic countries. And this total amount is up to $500 billion. And it's a huge amount. And we have been working for 2.5 years on hoping that governments will unfreeze those and use Russian money for the support of Ukraine. Unfortunately, it has been only a tiny bit of that, the percentage of it that has been given to Ukraine as a loan. However, I think it's a fair and absolutely honest and legal way of using the aggressors' money to support the victim ourselves without getting too much into the country's budget.
Okay, well, let me just ask you about this phone call between Chancellor Scholz of Germany and President Putin. Are you, like President Zelensky, worried that he's opening up a Pandoras box?
Absolutely, I agree with that. Because I think the format that was called a Normandy format, where it was Ukraine, Russia, Germany, and France, was not working at all. And it actually led Putin into thinking the United States and Great Britain will not be involved into helping Ukraine save itself. So this call seems like trying to return to the older format that was not working at all. And it is opening a possibility for Putin to say, look, it's just a matter of time with Western democracies. At first, you go and commit all kinds of the war crimes. You launch a war of aggression in the center of Europe. And then in almost 3 years, they will just get tired and then start talking with you again. And he's showing his allies, China and Iran and North Korea, that it is fine. You can start a war and then get away with it.
Kira Rudik, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for joining us from Ukraine. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol, and glory to Ukraine.